Now, how can you communicate with someone who is deaf if you don't have the ASL skills to be able to do so? First off, American Sign Language signing, definitely. So you can sign or sign, okay? Sign, okay? So signing is good, signing. If you're not able to sign, you can always gesture something out. You can always kind of act out what you see. You can kind of like point and make it clear what you're talking about in some cases. You can write back and forth, or you could get out your phone and text back and forth or email back and forth. Even if you're just typing it out, not even sending the messages, that could work as well. You could use a third person. So maybe there is another person with the deaf person and you can ask them to explain what they're saying. So that could be maybe like an interpreter, maybe another ASL student who's more advanced, maybe a friend or family member who's used to communicating with that person. Lip reading and speech reading, just a very small percentage of deaf people can actually use this method, and it is also very difficult to be able to understand what someone else is saying. If you are in a situation that there is a common response or a common set of questions and answers that's followed. If you go to a restaurant and you go up to the counter at a fast food place, then they're going to ask you, what do you want to order? Do you want fries? What size drink? This is the amount. Are you paying debit or credit or cash? So all of these are questions that you would be expecting. But in another conversation, you might not be expecting something and you might not be able to follow what the conversation is. Regardless of which strategy that you do use, your number one goal is to be able to include the deaf person and to be able to make your communication understood. And you don't want to be speaking in the presence of a deaf person without turning and relaying the rest of the information. So that, say that you and a deaf person are having a conversation and the deaf person is there, it's the two of you, and then another hearing person walks up and they need to talk to you or they need to tell you something. So you could always talk to the hearing person, find out the reason that they've come up to you or that they came over to say hi, and then turn to the deaf person and communicate what it is that they said to the best of your ability. If not, you do the best that you can, but the goal is to not ignore the deaf person just because they can't speak or because they can't hear. And so your goal is just to include them in whatever it is that you do, and you let the deaf person set the communication mode. Maybe they're completely okay with being able to just have a few finger spelled words and they can catch the rest of it by lip reading, or maybe they prefer to speak for themselves, or maybe they're gesturing things back to you, or maybe they prefer just to not even try to gesture or explain what it is or try to use sign language with you. Maybe they just prefer to write back and forth just for expedience, for time. Okay, so let the deaf person set the tone for that.